So, here we have our very special guest and our internet celebrity Benzaie from France. So, thank you for coming to Austria. Thank you for leaving our Austrian woman alone.
Well, no problem, I got really busy though on my way there in the train actually, so actually here you girls are very lucky because I'm just refueling right now.
So, what's your score on the Cheesometer on Austrian cosplay?
Oh, Austrian cosplay girls, even boys actually. I think there are, let's say, worth an 8.5 on the G's-o-meter. Yeah, that'd be about right, because they're not a 9, because a 9 is when you splooge right away, but an 8 is when, yeah, it's really up there. Not splooge right away, but, it's close. It's a close call.
Thank you, that's good enough for Austria. So tell us the story. What's with Barry? We know he is your illegitimate child between you and a face hugger or whatever hugger.
Yes, but you gotta remember that Barry is also like an interdimensional traveler, as well as my adopted son, as well as my biological son, as well as my future spouse. And he also is, if I'm not mistaken, no, I adopted him. He's my brother as well, and my roommate.
So it stays within the family. So what's the idea behind GamesFab? And will you do something like, let's say, movie fab, hentai fab, or fapping around the clock?
Fapping around the clock. Actually, I had a little idea about doing a Let's Fap with Master Bate, where, it'll be basically like a Let's Play, but with lots of fapping involved. As for actually hentai fab, because when I saw the success of the Game Fab series, I thought there are tons of very, very weird anime, like Marina Go-Go, like Bible Black, like Cleavage, or all these very cool stuff that I know you know, because you're a strain and a perv, and I know because I'm a perv, the master of all pervs anyway, and so I guess it's coming at some point. Like, it won't be like just Game Fab, it will be like, I don't know, like Anime Fab or Fab Animation. Fab Animation is a better word, actually.
Fab's great, sounds great. So, you mentioned hentai. What's your favorite hentai manga and what's your favorite moving material?
My favorite hentai manga, I think, you should call it, in terms of paper manga, it'll be like the Giri Giri Sister series, or Slut Girl, I love it. But in terms of like animation, I gotta say that, like, everybody's got his answer, but Bible Black still is very strong. Like, it still is the best, no matter what. There's like this something I think like it's called like Tengen Asagi, with like very brutal stuff, and that is very, very good hentai. Also, like, now like you have like this Stringendo, Accelerando series, they're very good as well. And in terms of movie, I don't watch much movies, no.
Too long, gets exhausting.
Yeah.
So, is being masturbates your whole profession, your whole purpose in life, or what do you do for your living, other than selling yourself?
If you remember like a Game Fab episode, I actually show what I do at work. It involves a lot of dancing with a lot of girls, and that gets very tiring, and actually, like, we don't get to pause for midday. We don't get, like, to eat. We don't have no time to eat, so it's just more dancing, and the more we dance, the more we get hot, the more we have to take our clothes off. So, like, by the end of it, we're just dancing naked, but very sweaty. And so, like, and at the end, like, by the end of the day, we just pat ourselves on the back, all naked and sweaty, to make sure, like, we don't feel too bad. So that's my daytime job, you could say. Game Fab is just a side project.
Okay, then now a question for Benzaie. You do a lot of stuff for internet games in France, so like reviews, interviewing, Ubisoft or Legends of game development. Is this your main profession? Do you work as game journalist for France, or is it also a hobby?
Okay, as for that, like, since it's been 6 months now that I've declared myself legally as a self-employed freelance journalist and video producer and translator. So you could say that my main activity actually combines all that because I make some money doing the videos on that Get the Glasses. I make some money doing like journalism for other websites, and I also make some money doing translation work for other stuff or other stuff. For example, like Paris has now a video game museum or had, and I translated the whole exhibition, and I also wrote a bunch of articles on there. So yeah, basically, like, yeah, it involves like, you know, journalism, the videos you see on that Get the Glasses, and translation. These are my three main activities that I now live off. Before I was a teacher.
Yeah, you mentioned being a teacher. I saw that video. Got some moves to learn. I tried the helicopter.
Oh, you tried the helicopter?
It works, but only for some rounds before takeoff.
Nice.
So, do you have any future projects? What is Benzaie planning?
Oh, actually, it's a very good question because during the month of September, there's a new podcast or some sort coming out. It's a debate show. It's not going to be like Siskel and Ebert, but it's going to be like a show about cinema. And you know the District Watcher on the show,
Yes.
on the site, and I'm going to team up with him. And we're going to like talk very in depth about like the subtext of movies, because you know, like, the American school of criticism is more about like saying like, does the actor, you know, do you believe in the actors, do you believe like in the special effects or the direction? But the European school of criticism is more like saying what's under, you know, under the surface, like what's the meaning of all this, you know, like if you go to cinema school, like you get like, you get to analyze like the subtext and all the symbolism and implication in it. So we are going to talk about that, but it won't be like about the latest movie we've seen. It'll be like about, all right, let's talk about the RoboCop trilogy, how it does, you know, how is it a criticism of the American culture, etc. Let's talk about Shyamalan movies and his depiction of like the human interactions and stuff like that. So it's going to be very cool.
Okay, then I want your European critic version on their existence for Jar Binks.
Oh, Jar Binks. You know, like in French, it's not as stupid as in American. It really is stupid, though. It is annoying. Did it ruin the movie for me? I'm not sure, because maybe I was old enough to see that, you know, at the Return of the Jedi, you have the Ewoks, and they're pretty stupid too. They're just here to be plushes, you know,
Yes.
like, they're just here to be like, oh, they're so cute, they're Ewoks. And as a kid, that's what you would like, because as a kid, then you would buy the DVD for the Battle of Endor. You would buy a DVD for, like, you know, like the Ewoks, the movie, you know, and you would watch the Ewoks show. I'm not sure they had Ewoks cereals, but I know I bought Ewoks toys, you know.
Yeah.
And I think Jar Binks is just a failed attempt at recreating the Ewoks in a way, but just in an annoying way. It didn't work, but it didn't annoy me as much as Anakin Skywalker being 8 years old and driving a pod. So Jar Binks, I can't say I like him, but he's not the worst character.
Yeah, let's stop about talking the new Star Wars. It's sad.
Yeah, don't mention.
But a very happy theme is the French comics and their culture. And you said explicitly you are a great fan of manga and anime. What is with your, do you have a certain opinion on your French comics?
French comic books? Alright, it depends, like, if you talk about, like, the big classics, like, you know, Asterix and Obelix, or, you know, like, or more like the underground, like the more recent stuff, like Peter Pan by Loisel, or the guy also did like tons of stuff. And I think the biggest legacy internationally of like French comic books are the creation of heavy metal. You know, like this whole magazines and universe. Metal Hurlant, yeah, exactly. And because it spawned the movie, and it spawned like the whole culture of like, you know, big titties, science fiction, stuff like that. You know, space wars, and being like very, because it was basically a revolution in terms of like what you could show in a comic book.
Geekdom.
Yeah, and it was like the uprising of the geek culture for me, and great stuff. And I think that's one of the things that I'd like to highlight in terms of like the French comic book legacy. Then I cannot say I read that many French comic books, though. I know they are very popular, but if I had to respect a lot one of them, it'd be like the guy that does the Chronicles of the Black Moon.
Ah, I know them. They're excellent.
I don't remember like the artist, but he also does like one that's called Requiem.
Yes.
And the artworks is fantastic. So yeah, I guess these are the two I would mention, yeah.
So you were at the Gamescom. What was the most impressive moment being at the Gamescom?
Most impressive thing at Gamescom was, I guess, the 3DS, because I was very curious about it. It didn't blow me away, but I was very curious about it. Like, I'm sure it's not gonna work, you know. Let's get picky and like, let's see what is its biggest flaw. And there's none. It's awesome. It works. There you go.
Oh, 3D is a very good point. Because the next question would be for Master Bates.
Okay.
So, Benzaie previously mentioned 3DS, but what do you think about the biggest revolution of 3D? 3D porn.
You know, actually, last year I downloaded like some very early 3D porn. It's called like Cross-Eye 3D. Do you know Cross-Eye 3D? It's when you have two pictures, one next to each other, and you have to cross your eyes until it becomes 3D. It gets very, you know, it's very painful to your eyes and head. And I watched a whole movie shot like that. It was terrible, and it was not worth the wait at all, or worth the headache. But still, it was porn in 3D. I wanted to know what it was like, and if it is your thing to have a giant cock up your face, which, you know, it's pretty good sometimes. But also, I will review at some point in GameFab a 3D game, kind of like Replay, but it can be played in 3D with glasses, and it works, but I'm not sure it's worth it. What I'm really looking forward to is holographic porn. By the time they get holographic porn right, I'll be the first to buy some holographic porn. And you know that in Japan, they already created holograms that you can touch and feel. Like, you had drops of water in 3D, and the guy would put his hand, and it would feel on his hands, like, you know, the drops of water, like, poop, poop, poop. And
let's call it water.
Yeah, and the hologram would pop, you know, like, it, so, and you could, like, model it in 3D, you know, like, it has, and it means that in 20 years, we'll be able to fuck a fucking holograms. Or at least, like, you know, touch virtual boobies. And I cannot wait. And you can't wait either, cameraman.
So, a 69 with 7 out of 9.
Yeah.
We see it coming. So, thank you, Benzaie. Thank you, Master Bates, for your interview. I hope you enjoy Austria. I hope you will enjoy it for the next days. Thank you for the interview.
Oh, thanks a lot, man. Thanks for the interview, and thanks to everybody who's watching. AniNite is awesome, and Austria is awesome as well. Thanks, man.
Well, we know.
Thanks, guys.